Hey, it's Romesh Dodangoda. I've got a session loaded here and I'm going to show you exactly how I use the presets in my new STL ToneHub pack. So that's the track we're going to look at today. This was all recorded using this preset pack, just a DI into the interface, and that's it. If we look on here, there are no other plugins running in this entire session. It's just STL ToneHub. So yeah, let's look at this first bit. This is the intro section. So there's a few parts that make up this guitar stack. First of all, we did some chords. And for that I'm using the Marshall Astoria preset that we made. This amp is great. It's really clear, but it's got a lovely drive to it. One thing to note that I have done is I've actually combined the double track into one stereo DI file. That's because for this part I kind of want the same amp sound on both sides, and rather than having them on two separate channels and having to deal with two separate instances, I can actually bounce them to one, and then if I go over here where it says routing, I can change this to stereo, and then this one instance actually does my double tracked rhythm tracks, so it's quite easy for me then to audition different sounds just in one plugin. So one of the great things is this cabinet section, which is so useful for when you're trying to figure out exactly how bright you want the guitars to be. I'll bring this track up a little bit so you can hear my starting point speaker position, and then I'll start making it brighter and darker, and you can hear exactly how it changes where it fits in the track. So in fact, let's turn the other stuff off for a minute so we can hear it even better. I mean, that feature alone is amazing because that usually takes so much time going back and forth in the live room. It's really great just being able to hear the track and being able to dial in the exactly where the mic should be, just right in front of you. So I didn't want this to be super bright because there's some other tracks which we need to make room for. So let's find a nice sweet spot. It feels good around there because it's nice and bitey, but it's not too much, which will give us room for the other tracks. So we've got the Marshall Astoria on that one, and then these other tracks here, are doing. So next we have a single note version of the intro sequence. I added this because we just wanted to add a little extra weight to the opening section. We can open up the ToneHub plugin here, see what's going on. So on this track we're using the JCM 800. This is one of quite a few different versions. The one thing that we did with this plugin was there were some amps that we really wanted to capture different elements of how the amp reacts. For instance, with some of the Voxes, when you turn them up, it's a whole new sound. So we've made these available here so you can get access to every part of that amp's tone. The one thing to note is I'm not using anything else apart from this, and you can hear how just effortlessly they fit into the mix. I'm really not doing anything apart from slight adjustments of the cabinet just to taste. I think, you know, this is one of the things that was quite important to me when making this pack, was for all the hard work to be taken out, so you can just load them into a mix and they pretty much work. Maybe you'll want to adjust the brightness to taste, but apart from that, they sit in a track really easily. Okay, so let's maybe try a few options for this. I think what I'll probably do is just combine these to one again, so we can use the ToneHub plugin a little easier. So what I've done here is just done the same thing as I've done on this other guitar track, which is just combine them to one, because I want to control these together. Stereo. So we can actually just remove these now, and then we need to also go into ToneHub and just make sure this routing is set to stereo, which it now is. And now we can kind of, while the track's playing, go through all the amps to see what works. So I'm going to turn this channel up a little bit just so you can hear the differences. So let's go through some of the patches here and see what else we can do with this guitar part. I really like that. That's a kind of a lower gain sound. You get more of the attack from the guitar coming through. Let's try one of the high watts out. Our matchless. I really like the one we had before, which was the high watt. I think that sounded really cool on this part. Yeah, you can really hear, like, one of the characteristics of the high watt is it's got such an amazing attack when you don't have a lot of gain on it, and you can really hear how that's come out in this patch. You can definitely hear the sound that I'm familiar with when I use the real high watt amp. And then let's put that back with the chords and see if that sits nicely. instantly that cuts through really well, and it complements the other tone. We've also got then a lead part here. And for this, I'm actually using some of the effects in ToneHub, which is another great thing, is I can do so much just in this one plugin instance. If we go to the effects section, we've got delays and reverbs that can be synced to the project time, and then if you use these arrows, there are so I've got a bit of delay and a bit of reverb. The cool thing about this delay is it's got this pre and post thing, so you can simulate the sound of it before the amp's input, like you would maybe if you were plugging a stomp box in to the amp's input, or you can set it to post, so it's kind of post microphone, which makes a huge difference to the tone of the delay. Let's maybe try a little bit more on the verb. So let's look at this other track. This is the big one note, it's called. So let's have a look at some other amp sounds that we can use with this part. Let's maybe go for one of the matchless amps. We've got a stomp section here, so I can add, I think I want it to have a bit more drive, so. And then let's add our reverb back in. Let's try that in the track. Great, so let's move on to the verse then. We've got a clean guitar, which is quite a simple part. Let's have a look at some other amps that we could use for this part, just to show you the various sounds that are available here. So let's have a look through some of the other amp sounds that we've got and see what else we could use on this part. That's quite nice. That kind of, the top end shines through a bit more. Got some harmonics here, which again I've used the ToneHub effects for. Let's maybe see what happens if we give these harmonics a little extra gain. This is the Vox Ac30. This is a really old one. It's a 1964. You can see just from the small changes I've been able to do in ToneHub how different I've made that part. It now sings a bit better and it shines more in the track. I'm using the delay with a bit of modulation as well. We've got another part as well on this verse, which is a little picked. For this part, I'm using the chorus that's built into the plugin. I wanted a slightly 80s vibe to it. I think that sits really nicely in the track. So let's look at this bit then. This is the pre-chorus. Again, we're using the effects, we're using the delay. There's no other plugins being used here. So I've just combined these to a stereo DI just so I can easily show you lots of the different tones. Let's hear that in the track. Let's try something else. Let's, I mean, what does the 6505 sound like on it? The mess is quite cool. Let's see what that sounds like on the track. I want something a bit more vintage sounding, something a bit lower gain. That's cool. I like that one. There's something about the mid-range on that which just sits in the track really nicely for this part. And you can really hear how, with the parts that we've got and the sounds we've got, how much the chorus gets a really nice lift coming out of the pre-chorus. So yeah, that's a brief overview on how I use my preset pack in a mix.